Basket Case 2 was one of the first independent, low budget horror films I watched as a kid. It's not as gritty as the original, but it's still an absolute blast. When I was around 9 years old, my favorite thrift store in town called Past and Present went out of business, and I remember being so upset about it. The only good thing that came from it was on their last day open, the owner was giving away tons of free VHS tapes. I could not believe it. I remember being so stoked. That day I took home stacks of tapes, but the most memorable one was Basket Case 2. For those who don't know, in the original film, it starts off with a young man named Dwayne who arrives in New York City with a locked wicker basket. The deformed creature in the basket is his brother Belial, who he was conjoined with at birth. I'm not going to spoil the ending of the first film, but I will say it's absolutely batshit crazy. The sequel takes place 8 years later and follows Belial, who ends up moving into a special home for unique individuals. This one had a much larger budget than the original film, which you can certainly tell by the insane practical effects and bigger sets in this. This film is an absolute blast, filled with brutal kills, awesome practical effects, and super campy performances, which I love.
Campi dai prate.
When I first watched this as a kid, I remember thinking to myself, man, this is much different than Halloween, Child's Play, or Nightmare on Elm Street. Even as a kid, I could tell this was much more underground, which made it even cooler when I first discovered it, and it definitely got me into more low budget indie horror as the years went on. Basket Case 2 is currently streaming on Amazon, same with the original and part 3. Highly recommend checking out these fun, underrated gems. So good.